Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles. And sometimes I'll go big and buy everything. With my wife and kids, we run an antique shop in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, filled with some of the most unique items we can find. I never know what's going to happen or who I'm going to meet. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc.
Home, honey.
Last year I had a vision, a dream, and it came true. We built this. We got a general store, we put it all back together, and it's been a lot of fun. And surprisingly, maybe not a surprise, I've started to run out of room again. But there's one upside to this. I also own this vacant lot that is right next door to the building, and I am going to start planning to do an addition that I'm going to call the old garage. Looking up and down the street where my store is, you might think it looks very residential, and my little shop seems very much out of place. And that's because this entire street at one point used to be stores just like mine. There was a little blacksmith shop next door. There was my store, which was originally a pool hall and barber shop. There was a kosher deli and a print shop here, and all the way down the block, this was all businesses. This was a major thoroughfare. Now, in the last little while, the city had rezoned and everything is pretty much residential, but my building survived. And today I'm meeting with, I think, this gentleman right here, and we're going to chat about doing the addition and get an idea of what it's going to cost to put a cement pad in.
I'm trying to do this more or less to scale, where every single one of these little boxes represents 2 feet. So this building is 20 feet wide. The addition, albeit I was bummed out that I can't build a full-on other building next door, which is what I kind of wanted to do, I can do an addition. And I'm thinking if I go underneath the roof line here where the gutter, I guess I should probably draw that on there so you can get an idea. The roof extends a little bit, just around 10 feet. Oh, I'm thinking if I start around 10 feet and I work my way down, I should be able to do a little addition. So I've drawn out the distance. This is also going to be roughly 20 feet. That should be 10 boxes over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 over. And it's going to be about 8 feet tall here and about 10 feet tall at that end, and slope down so that the snow and water and everything else can run off the side. I'm gonna rough that in, measure it up, and start to fill it in. On the addition, I think I'm gonna do a regular door and 2 large 4-foot square kind of windows, or I could do a few longer ones, but I like the idea of it being one big open space there. Probably have like an insert on the inside here. Maybe a little bit of decorative detail. And I'm wanting to carry, so this is essentially what the store looks like right now. It's a drawing, but you get it. And that's kind of what I want the addition to look like. Though I want it to look like it's always been there, that it's part of the building, part of the history. Just gonna get a little color on my windows. Let's do those a little bit gray, just so it's not so bland looking. But if I carry the color kind of combination all the way through, then it should kind of tie things together. So here's my rough overview, my plan. I've got my dimensions. That's that big space there. That's the building that's next door to me. I'm gonna leave a bit of a walkway through so I can get to the backyard. There'll be a little walkway down there. This is definitely not, my perspective's not exactly right, but engineered trusses basically going across the front with a nailer strip on that side. And then, you know, Josh or Dakota know what to do there, or Hans knows what to do in terms of butting up the windows and making sure that's all up to code. And then for floor plan, my existing right there. And you can see we're adding on 680 square feet, which is gonna basically give me half as much more room is what I have right now. So I've got just a little over, I think, 1,000 square feet on that main area there. And adding another 680 is going to be a big difference. We're going to have to build a concrete curb, which is on for three walls. This other wall is going to be held on in place with a nailer strip. Of course, I am not a contractor or an engineer, so I'm gonna have to run all this by real people at some point, but this is my general idea, being a novice, of how we might be able to construct this thing, and I'll have somebody real, a normal person, meeting a general contractor on the site next week, and they're gonna walk me through what I might need to do. So kind of my general plan. We'll see what happens.
There was one problem with the design I was coming up with. I talked to the Heritage Department with the city, and they feel that the one wall is considered part of the heritage of the building because that's where the old advertisements were, so they don't want it obscured. That means that I'm gonna have to have a 4.5 meter setback, which is about 14 feet or so, from the sidewalk to leave that front part of the building exposed. So I've had to come up with a new plan. My new plan is going to be for an additional 800 square feet, but this time I'm leaving it detached from the building. I'm gonna set it back the distance that they're asking for, and it's gonna be roughly 20 by 40, giving me that 800 square feet, which is roughly the same as what I have in my existing area. And what is it gonna look like? Well, hopefully something a little bit like that, where I can look at joining the two buildings with a walkway, an old-fashioned garage door, and really give it that look and feel of a historic garage. Now I'm gonna get these drawings off to an actual draftsperson so they can come up with the plan that I can build from and hopefully get approval from the city. So let's meet up with Sean with SCO Hall Drafting and see what he comes up with. I am coming up with a plan to do some additions to the building. I've been doing a bunch of drawings, coming up with ideas, and of course it's always a challenge when you're dealing with the city because you have to make sure that it's going to meet all the proper codes. And to make sure that everything is going to be okay, I've contracted a drafting company, and I'm going to be meeting them here at my little bakery that I like going to first thing this morning to get an idea of what the designs are going to look like. So excited to see what they've got. We'll see them show up in a couple minutes here. In the meantime, I'm going to have some breakfast. Things are coming out on the table, which can only mean that Sean is here from SCO Hall Drafting.
Sean from SCO Hall Drafting here, the architectural technologist on the team. Pretty excited about Alex's project.
Yeah, and you've got some things to show me today.
Yeah, so last couple of weeks since we've last met, we've been working on putting together a preliminary plan here for him. So we got a basic 3D model here review
3D?
today. Yeah, 3D. We do everything in 3D.
Okay.
We're one of the only drafting service companies in town that has the ability to produce 3D models. We find it really helps our clients visualize like the final project. Helps
great.
them make the design decisions throughout the entire process. So.
Well, I'm excited to see what you've brought in. So are we going to look at the 3D model first, or are we going to look at the paper plan first?
I think we should dive right into the exciting.
Oh, you want to get into the exciting one
It's always
first?
fun to look at the 3D model first.
Okay, perfect. Let's have a look.
Okay. Just open up the model, take it for a 3D spin.
So tell me about the saying there.
So yeah, we strongly believe here at SCO Hall that it's kind of our company motto. Not only like a building needs a strong foundation, we believe companies also need a strong foundation. So we're really trying to build not only strong buildings that are going to last the test of time, we're trying to build a long-lasting company. We want SCO Hall to last the test of time. We like sticking with our clients right through from start to finish. When the first time the pen touches the paper, the last nail that goes into the construction process. We're with our clients right through the thick of things, right from start to finish. And we believe the same thing in the buildings. Buildings also need to stand the test of time. So that's kind of a quote we like to design our buildings around.
That's a great motto.
Yeah, and of course, buildings also need to look beautiful, need to be appeasing to the eyes. So.
Well, I guess we'll see how things look.
Yeah, so let's take a trip back to 1913.
Okay.
So yeah.
There we go. So there's my existing.
Yeah, so there's existing buildings to the right there, or left there. It's pretty close match. It's almost identical. And if you actually change it here to the realistic view, we even took a step further. So yeah, we took a step further here. We threw your logo up on there to give it just a little bit of a flashy appearance.
Yeah.
So yeah, that building to the left, pretty similar to what we did here. I plotted it out the exact same way it's plotted out on your land.
Okay, yeah.
So we got your addition to the back, you got your box out, and then to the left of your property is the addition that we're working on for you. So here you can see how it's going to be set back. We've talked about maybe doing a concrete slab patio at the front, so in the summertime you can open up that garage door and really
Yeah.
entertain the neighborhood, bring in the kids, maybe
That's the
serve some
idea.
ice cream.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted it to look like it was an old-fashioned garage that had been there for years and years and years. And the city wanted it set back like it is in the picture. And I kind of don't mind that setback because I can recreate another mural on that wall. And there was, in fact, it was a Sweet Caporal cigarette ad there. I probably won't put a cigarette ad up, considering I have a lot of kids that come through the store. But that does give me some options to maybe, you know, park an old car on the side or just really have some fun with the front yard.
Yeah, whether you put up an old car mural or an ice cream shop mural or a cafe mural,
Yeah,
that'd look
something
really
fun.
great there. You got, I think, about 12 to 14 feet of space to work with there. So,
Okay, and you've got a floor plan on here too.
yeah, so we drew a preliminary floor plan here for you to kind of show you how the buildings are going to be spaced next to each other, show you all the setbacks, show you all the door locations, how they all line up.
And you've left about 3 feet between the buildings?
Yeah, there's about 3 feet between the buildings we discussed last week. Gives you enough room to kind of walk
A little
through
walkway.
to the back.
Yeah, so I could walk in and all the way down. I don't know, I wouldn't make those little clip-cloppity sounds, but it would go along there.
You can put with some paving stones or some decorative brick.
And how many square feet is this going to give us?
This
That extra space.
The exact square feet of that. You're looking at 800 square feet. So
Okay.
the new existing addition is 800 square feet.
Well, that's going to add quite a bit. So
Yeah, we'll. So 800 square feet.
yeah, and 800 square feet is roughly what the front part of my store is
Yeah.
anyhow. So it's going to basically double the square footage for the front of the building.
So you're looking at about a 2,000 square foot store at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think somewhere around there.
So yeah, we got about a 3 foot separation between the two buildings. Your doors are nicely aligned, so if in the future we decide to build a breezeway to connect the two, it'd be nice and easy to move between the two stores. Your guests can move between the stores. You and your employees can move between the two stores.
Yeah, that's the idea.
And then yeah, the door is positioned right to that right side, so you can, like you discussed, you may put some of your nice cars on display out there, whether it be inside or outside on the concrete slab. So
And how much, what's the distance in the front here?
you're looking at 19'7" from the front face of the building to the front of the driveway.
Oh, okay.
So 19'7" back from the front face of your existing facade.
Okay. So when I go in and see the city, they're going to be looking for this copy, the paper copy, correct?
Yeah, correct. The paper copy that we're going to be giving you when everything's finalized is going to be a lot thicker than this copy. This is
Right.
still just preliminary, so it's only includes some 3D images, an overall streetscape, and some floor plans. But your final copy you go to the city with is going to include the 3D perspective views, a streetscape, front, rear, right, and left elevations, a main floor plan, a main floor electrical plan, a main floor structural plan, a section. It's going to have everything you need to both permit and construct the building.
Okay,
So you
great.
can see here,
Yeah, there's lots of other sheet numbers that need to be added in.
yeah, only 4 of them are actually issued.
And so you've brought in, these are the 3D plans, basically.
Yep.
And I like that we've really tried to keep the heritage of the building. Now, I don't know if I'll keep the blue or not, but that's beside the point. The fact is it'll be matching.
I find this like transition's very seamless. Like if you're to build this building in 2020, I really feel like it looks like something straight out of the 1920s, 1910s.
Yeah, no, and the city didn't want me to necessarily replicate history, so I like the fact that we'll be adding in a modern glass garage door. So the idea will be it will look like a 1913 garage that somebody has retrofitted to use today, but in fact it's a new building, and I think that's just sort of the idea that I want to go for. And I like the fact that with the setback, it doesn't take away from the historic nature of the current building and space, that it keeps the integrity there. And I'm looking forward, I already have been talking to Dave about what to paint on the side here, so lots to plan for this spring and summer.
So here we have the overall streetscape. We got the front streetscape and the rear streetscape. What it's going to look like when you're standing out in front of the street.
Okay. So essentially it's very, very similar. I like the fact there's just a single man door. You don't need much on the back of a building like that, but that gives you an access point at least anyway.
There is a couple windows missing on your existing building, but
Yeah, I have a big window here, and I think my little kick out has a window, but
yeah.
yeah, I get the idea.
But the city doesn't need to see that information. We probably will throw it on the final plan just for the
Just to make it look all
just to
nice.
make it look all nice and give you the final plan, all appeasing and such. We don't want to leave out any details, but at this point, we just left it out. We haven't measured that wall yet.
Yeah, I like the old school lights there too. I think it's going to be really fun. And then what do we have on the last page?
Yeah, so then moving on to the last page here, we just have, once again, just the plan we can see. So just put it on some paper. It's easier to mark up here today, which I'm sure we're gonna be making a couple minor changes here and there.
11'6" ceilings, that's gonna be nice.
Yeah, so that's from this concrete slab to the underside of your drywall.
Okay, yeah.
And then the interior space is 38 foot 11 deep by 18 foot 11 wide. So the overall building is 20 by 40, but of course,
The interior
wall
space
thickness
a little bit less,
is a little bit, wall thickness is take away from that interior space. So and yeah,
Okay.
you got a 8 foot by 8 foot 8 overhead door, a 3 foot French door, and a window up the front. So that'll bring in lots of natural light in the summertime when you open those all up.
Yeah, that'll be great. I mean, the thing that's gonna stink a little bit, and this is my own doing, is the fact that these interior windows of my existing historic building are gonna see a lot less daylight because now we've got about a 3 foot gap between the buildings, but it'll get some light. And I may just put like a little gate or something here to the walkway so I have access to it. But, you know, that is what it is. You know, we don't want to build it completely attached. So when you're building separate, you've got to make some judgment calls. But I think getting the extra space is going to be just fantastic, and it's exactly what I need for the shop. It's already feeling overdue for this. The big thing now is going to be finding a way to afford all the buildings. We both ordered tea. Let's hope that the price on the building isn't going to be that steep either.
I like your
yuck,
fun.
yuck. Okay, Sean, so I think these preliminaries look really good, but for me to go to the city, I need the whole thing. So what are we looking at for time frame to get the rest of this booklet ready for me?
So after we're done here today, we'll take all the revisions that we will discuss, and we're going to immediately put those onto the plans. We'll probably have that back to you within 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
We'll have you look over the plans once more just to give it a final stamp of approval. Once that is done, me and my partner Jazz, who's based out of Calgary, the other half of SCO Hall, will begin working on the final construction set. And we'll have that turned around to you in about probably a week and a half to 2 weeks. So by the end of March, at the latest, we're going to be ready to go to the city for permit.
Okay, and we need to contact a cement guy, a concrete guy pretty quick, because these guys book up pretty fast.
Yeah.
And you've got a friend that you said you can call.
Yeah, I've got a friend out in Spruce Grove that I'm going to try to hook you up with. He does very, very good work, very meticulous. And since this is going to be an exposed concrete slab on the interior, you want that work to be nice and smooth. So
Absolutely, yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Well, let's take it to the next steps and get the rest of this done. And
yeah, and the one other piece we will have to work on over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we will have to consult with an engineer. Because the slab is over the threshold that the Alberta Building Code allows to do without engineering, we will have to consult an engineer to ensure that the structural slab we are designing meets all the structural requirements. So I've already got an engineer ready to go. We're gonna, as soon as we finalize preliminary plans, I'm gonna send him them, and he's gonna get his details ready to go for you, Alex.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, let's get these stamped and get them ready to go to the city. All right. So I'm thinking on this side, in terms of electrical, probably a counter centered on that wall, freestanding.
About like 15 feet. 15 feet.
Probably
wide or
about
so.
that, yeah, so that I can put stools along it.
Okay.
And then 3 hanging pendant lights above it. Overhead lights, probably two big at the back, 1 in the middle, and then 2 here, because these 3 pendants are going to offset the need for light in this area.
Yeah.
We'll space out the plugs as they should be normally in these areas
per
here.
code.
And then we'll probably add maybe a couple extra plugs on this wall, because I might do a row of pinball machines along here.
That's pretty exciting. That'd be pretty cool for the kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't know how happy the parents will be knowing that I'm planning on putting a bit of an arcade on this wall, but I think the kids will have fun with it.
And there's a school across the street too, so.
Yeah, well, and they already come and check out the candy counter that I've got right along here. So I figure if there's a place for, I don't know, kids gotta be kids. They gotta go have somewhere to have fun in the neighborhood, and why not our shop?
Give them their sugar and give them their arcade.
That's right.
My childhood, that's all I did when I was a kid. Went to the cafe, went to the convenience store, picked up my snacks, and came back and played video games. So.
Dan, you turned out okay.
But 1920s, they didn't have that luxury, so they had to go to buildings like this. So you're bringing one to the neighborhood. That's pretty exciting.
That's right.
Basically, I'm just going to draw in here what we just discussed. So about 15 feet wide. My fancy ruler here that measures to scale.
Yeah.
We'll say, I don't know, 6 feet deep. 5 feet deep.
Well, it'll probably be freestanding, so it'll be like a 2-foot counter that floats, basically. Kind of how I have my counter set up, or how this building has their counter set up, kind of running along with an access space on the inside. So a person could walk in here and then serve the drinks and so forth. If I decide to close it off at some point, I might, but I think I'll leave it open for
And we're
now.
going to have your 3 pendant lights
Yeah.
evenly spaced over here.
That's right.
And then we're gonna have your overhead lights spaced out evenly here.
Looks like a really weird looking domino.
Only concern I have about this
Yeah,
one
we
is we
can't
gotta
put-
make sure it's at the right height so it's not interfering with the overhead door.
Yeah, I might have to put a flush mount or something like that.
But we'll space that out evenly, and then
It'd be nice to light this up really bright so at night, if I had like an antique car or something parked in this area, that you could really get a good view of it from the street, like the little Isetta. Okay, so while he goes back and finishes up the drawings, I have to try and find a way to, well, I mean, finance this whole operation, which means I'm gonna have to get really good at selling stuff in the next little while. But I do have until summer to figure that all out. In the meantime, I need to start planning because it does take about 8 to 10 weeks before the permits and licenses can all go ahead. And that's perfect timing because we'll be looking at doing this build come spring, summertime, which would be ideal for construction. So the next video, we'll probably get into the permitting process and talk about how that's all going. But for now, this is video number 1. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned as we turn what is currently just an idea, hopefully into an actual reality. So stick with us as we work our way through another project and follow along. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you all soon. Bye for now.